Now, I've got an email from Becky in Texas. Becky writes, I've heard that with the bill passage, there will be changes to the AMT law. We talked about that for a second. I make $45,000 a year. Will this bailout package affect my filings for next year? Becky, very interesting, and it's funny that you bring up that number, but yeah, the AMT, the alternative minimum tax, this is something built in the 70s to tax high-income households. Now listen, only 19,000 people qualified for this AMT. Now, we're talking by 2010, 30 million of us will get hit by the AMT, and for a lot of people, it means paying more taxes. I want to bring in Tracy Coenen here. Tracy, you're a forensic accountant, right? You're a specialist in all this. Can you give us a more of a translation of how the AMT patch in the new bill that passed today, how does it work and who's it going to help?
I sure can give you a translation. What they've done today is they basically raised the numbers so that fewer taxpayers are going to qualify, and qualify is not good in this situation. Qualify means having to pay the alternative minimum tax. Now, someone who's in the $45,000 range for income isn't going to have to worry about paying alternative minimum tax for 2008. What we're talking about now is single taxpayers who have income of about $100,000 or more, married taxpayers filing jointly about $175,000 or more. Those people are the ones who are going to be paying AMT this year.
Now, Tracy, they were also talking, I think that the number that she got, that $45,000, was because, you know, in part of the patch, the paperwork, the actual bill itself, which I have here in front of me, it says about the provisions that it increases the exemption amounts to $46,200 for individuals. So that is just difficult for people to understand, really. Can you explain what that means, exemption amounts?
That's right, Carmen. It's a little bit confusing. The exemption amount for singles at about $46,000, joint filers at about $70,000. That number does not correlate to your income, so taxpayers kind of should ignore that because it's a little bit confusing. All that is part of one very complicated calculation that's done to calculate your AMT. So if you work with the rules of thumb that I mentioned, about $100,000 single, about $175,000 joint, if that's your wages or your business income, that's when you really have to start worrying about it.
Yeah, and it's really actually can be very expensive for some people. So if you think you fall under that, I really think, Tracy, that it's really valuable to have a tax preparer that you really trust to go through some of this.
A tax preparer is really critical if you even think you might be coming close. I have to tell you, the calculation is complex, even for tax preparers. And so I don't want a taxpayer trying to do it themselves. I don't want them to be caught off guard in April, all of a sudden owing a big chunk in taxes. If you're anywhere near those parameters that I gave, you ought to go talk to a qualified tax preparer right away.
Yeah, so Becky who emailed us, you're in great shape, Becky. And Tracy, we're definitely going to have you back because, you know, that tax clock will start ticking soon.